the answers, no answers. I could find you, I could find
From the Sporting News Studios, this is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Matt Latevsky.
I got all the answers, all the answers. I could find you, I could find all the answers. If you let me get it close and study you.
Big week, guys. Big week. This is a big week. This actually is a big week. I say it every show, and it's usually not.
Why is this one so big?
Because you and I are going head-to-head.
Oh, that's right.
That's why. I mean, last week was big. Billy and I went head-to-head.
Yeah, but my lineup didn't show up.
Tuning into this one this week.
The ratings are going to be through the roof.
This is the kind of thing, you get some weeks where like there's not great TV matchups or not great Sunday Night Football. This is not one of those because a lot of people are going to be tuning into me and you.
Yeah, we should tell people that in our league, I make a fake TV schedule every week, and it's the fifth nerdiest thing I do in a given week.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. All right. Eric Ferreira, fantasy football commissioner over there and currently leading our league. Billy Haynes, Sporting News fantasy intern. He's over here ready to go. Break down week 7. We got a lot of stuff to cover, guys. I mean, really the same amount as any other week.
It is a big week.
But it is a big week. Yeah, we got most search players. We'll hit some trends. We got a whole lot of good matchups, bad matchups we'll get into in a bit. We start every week looking back what we got wrong the week before. And this week, guys, I'm on top again with my big Adrian Peterson will pay off against the Dolphins call that you both, I think, poo-pooed.
Yeah, did we poo-poo it or we say, well, if he can't do it this week, he'll never do it?
Well,
I definitely said that.
Well, yeah, which was, I think, I
don't think either one of us thought he couldn't do anything against the Dolphins. Well, we're poo-pooing him in general.
Yes, but there was poo-poo.
Yes.
And he went for over 100 yards. But
couldn't score, though.
This might...
Because Terry McLaurin had to get both of those.
Yeah, had
Scary
to.
Terry.
But I think that might have been the last week we saw vintage Adrian Peterson.
Was that it?
I think it was.
That was his swan song?
I don't know his schedule going forward, but I can't imagine.
It's not better than the Dolphins.
And he doesn't get to face the Redskins, sadly. So not a lot left for old AP. Yeah, your schedule guy. So
schedule guy. But I didn't research this. Niners, not good. Vikings, not good. Bills, not great. Jets, Lions, Panthers.
Lions is
decent. I'm going to clean his plate off now.
Okay. Bus boys there.
We came over, and he was like, oh, no, I'm still picking at those fries against Miami. Now he's
you're
like,
done.
I'm good.
All right, clearing the plate. Aaron Rodgers, last week, I said he was droppable. He went out, had a pretty good game, should have had better stats than he wound up with. He had probably 2 touchdowns that were dropped. Yep. Certainly Aaron Jones's should have been. I think Darius Shepard's probably would have been too.
Well, and Jimmy Graham had that one.
And 3.
Threw for a big 280, right?
280 and 2? That's big for him.
That is a big week for
So I kind of retract my droppable, but also kind of not really. Because if that's
he's not droppable. I mean, he's not droppable. He's not droppable. He's not droppable.
Because you're not starting him every week. If you're not starting a quarterback every week, they're droppable.
Well, he's a special case. He's Aaron Rodgers. He needs to be on a team.
See, it's thinking like that.
If anything, you know what you do?
Is why you're going to be in second place after this week.
You trade him to someone who's like...
Yes.
Not necessarily Aaron Rodgers guy, but
Bill Bender,
who sees the name.
But he already has them.
Someone who's starting like Gardner Minshew, right?
Right.
And you're like, listen, I can make you more stable at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers.
Future Hall of Famer.
Right. And someone in your league, if you try hard enough with all the quarterback injuries and all the stuff that's happened, someone is going to be attracted to that safety of Aaron Rodgers. So you don't drop him.
And just like
he's actually a great guy.
You could have just said attracted to Aaron Rodgers, and I think that would have applied too.
Good looking cat.
He's overrated.
A little bit. He's no Jimmy G.
That's true.
Yeah, or Brady.
Nobody's Jimmy
or Daniel Jones. But so let's get another one. You mentioned Gardner Minshew. That's I think all of us were sort of general agreement. We liked Minshew last week in a home matchup against the Saints. We were really like, well, Dak's an auto start. Nothing to worry about with him. And we mentioned it was statistically a bad matchup. He went out, didn't have a great game. Do we need to sort of relook at those two? I mean, Minshew really played very badly. Now this week he has another good matchup, right, against the Bengals.
It's an interesting matchup because teams don't feel the need to pass against them.
Yes.
They just
What
run
was the
all over
stat
them.
we found? They
were like 4th fewest fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks.
Well, and fewest pass attempts per game are against the Bengals, right?
Because everyone's running all over.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Which we kind of think will happen with the Dolphins as well, which is a weird reason you can get a little squirrely, at least about receivers against the Dolphins.
Right.
But kind of looking at them, like Dak, do you consider him an every week play, or is he matchup?
Not if Cooper's out.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, fair. I would say if Cooper is healthy and ready to go, he's pretty much an every week play unless you get really well at drafting quarterbacks and have 2. I'm completely comfortable with him when the team is at full strength.
He has certainly looked human though against these better defenses after he
We said that a while ago.
We
right?
have been saying
we
that.
We said like his first few games were not
A little inflated.
Right. So
Eagles this
I don't
week
know
at
if he's an
home.
every week starter.
Right.
This week he's a
Yeah,
start.
you definitely started
But-
him. But he is interesting going forward. What his true value is that he probably was a sell high guy after week 3,
Yeah.
but kind of late for that.
It's funny though, going back to Minshew, it's funny how someone like him, who's like a backup quarterback and nobody, he goes out and throws for his 200 yards and 2 TDs, and you're like, oh, it looks pretty good. But
Right.
then Rodgers does it.
You're
And you're
disappointed.
so disappointed.
Yeah.
But because I'm looking, but last game he didn't throw any. Last game was his worst game of the year. Other than that, he's had 2 TDs every game except week 2.
Minshew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he
And
doesn't throw for tons of yards.
And he hadn't
but
thrown an INT since week 1.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
So you're like, oh, I can start him. Good little start. But Rodgers is like, oh, no, you should drop him.
right.
Right.
Well, they're both. I mean, Minshew's definitely droppable.
Mi-
That's
yeah.
kind of the point, though. They do put up very similar stats, and we wouldn't have any problem dropping Minshew. I mean, I know you have to take sort of the past capital a guy has built up, but I don't know.
I don't
Rodgers.
think if you owned Aaron Rodgers, I don't think you'd drop him.
I wish I owned him so I could drop him. I'm going to trade for him just to drop him.
Do it.
I'll show you.
That's a
All right,
bossy move.
let's look at the highest trending players. We're going to search engine Yippee, which I feel
Yippee?
like a complete Yahoo ripoff.
Sounds like a fast search engine.
Well,
Did
it's
you get any speed
Or
numbers?
are you just supposed to say like yippee once you like get what you want?
exactly maybe, but it does.
But I normally would spell yippee with 2 E's at the end and not a Y, so I'm not sure how I
I
feel
agree
about
with
it.
that. It also feels like this is like the store brand. This is Cola to Yahoo's name brand. This is Dr.
Any
Thunder.
stats on this? How high did this get as a search engine?
Well,
What
it's
years
still
are we
going.
talking?
It's relatively new,
Okay.
and it's primarily for the deep web, which always creeps me out because I don't.
Deep web. They're like social security numbers and stuff.
Yeah, I was
down
reading
there,
stuff. Well,
like,
that's dark
you buy-
web.
Okay.
But I was reading it. It was like this is to help you.
Yippee powered by IBM Watson? That sounds
Yeah.
legit.
And it was like, oh,
Sounds
this will
like-
help you find internet pages that aren't easily found on regular search engines,
It's-
which
Okay.
sounds creepy.
Its tagline is the right search, unrivaled privacy.
There you go. Yippee.
This actually sounds like something to get on the ground floor with.
Hey, we were on it with DuckDuckGo last year, so
If Watson's
It
on
was
this,
kind of slow, but
that's okay.
will this help
looks a lot
Explorer
like
use SEO?
looks
will
a lot
this
like
help?
Bing.
It
It looks a lot like Bing.
Looks a lot like
visually.
Bing just
And
seems
sounds
cheesy.
like Yahoo. Why not? All right.
You heard it here first.
So we were
start
hit-
using Yippee.
I was this past week. I was hitting up Yippee, looking at the trends.
Change your SEO strategy to
Oh, yeah,
go
I
at
got to
Yippee.
get that Yippee audience. So, guys, hi. Ranking highly on Yippee this week were Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, which, I mean, Matt LaFleur, this shouldn't really be a shock. He said, I want to get Jamal Williams more touches. It was trending this way. Then Williams gets hurt. Aaron Jones has a 4-touchdown game. We're all like, all right, Aaron Jones is the man. And then as soon as Jamal Williams is back, nope. And Jones didn't help himself with a bad drop in the end zone and a fumble. What are we looking at from this backfield going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this writing should have been on the wall when the Packers were using Trey Carson in the middle of Aaron Jones's 4-touchdown
That's
game.
right.
Like, they just won't play him a full allotment of snaps, and Williams is a good backup, and he showed it. And
Good pass blocker, good receiver.
It's one of those things where, like, I don't think it really makes Jones, too much of a question mark. I think you pretty much got to start him every week still.
Mhm.
But you sort of sit there and you're like, he doesn't quite have upside the same way he would, if he got all
Right.
the touches.
Right. I agree. And I do think this makes Williams a flex pretty much every week. I mean, I think this is going to be maybe a hot hand situation. It's not going to be, Williams all the time necessarily, or he gets goal line. I still think Jones, like you said, has plenty of value, but the ceiling's lower.
It seems like complete Splitsville committee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're fairly committed to running the ball,
Can you
especially
still
if their
sell
receivers
high
are
on
all
Jones,
hurt.
do you think? Or is that window already closed?
Well, this week in particular is probably like
Yeah.
you just look desperate. You look like, oh my God, he's not the starter anymore. Like the second you put him on the trade block or offer a trade someone, that person is
Right.
going to be like, oh, he must not
So
be the
if
starter
he had a
anymore.
good game this week, let's just say like 72 yards and 2 touchdowns, like I'd be trying to trade him.
But you wouldn't. But then the Williams stuff wouldn't have happened, and you'd be like, well, I have an
Well,
RB1.
Right. But it kind of comes down to how the touches are distributed. And I think
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much 50-50. Neither guy seems to be like the goal line guy or the receiving. They're both kind of just in when
Right.
they get a series or when one of them's
Right.
tired. I will say this, though. Next 3, Next game against
Schedules.
Oakland, which everyone's like, that's a great matchup.
Really
Oakland's
isn't on paper.
26th in fantasy points against for running backs, but the two after, Kansas City and the Chargers, are 8 and 9 for the
Well,
most
we know-
points given up.
We know the game plan against Kansas City now.
Yeah.
It's run, keep Mahomes off the field. So, they're
So
gonna
I mean,
try to do
I
that.
wouldn't be scared of Oakland. So it's kind of nice. It's a pretty good 3 matchups that you can probably get away with playing both, at least like as a flex.
Yeah, we have Jones ranked higher for now, but I could see that changing next
It
week.
reminds me more of the Denver situation than I would have expected it to.
Right.
But I sort of think you just got to recalibrate Jones back into sort of the RB2 range where he was before the season versus like, wow, he's awesome after he scored the
It's
4
one of those
touchdowns.
things. If you have Jones, you're upset. If you have Williams, you're excited.
Right.
But either way, they're still
But they're
both
in the
like
same
50-50.
spot.
Like
It's Minshew Rodgers
Right.
all over again. All right, let's go to Will Dissly.
We didn't make the mustache comparison with Minshew Rodgers, but we should have.
That's right. Yeah, man, mustache. That's key. All right, let's go. Let's go to Will Dissly, breakout tight end. There's so few of them. Achilles, boom, done for the year. Just gone, just out of our lives as quickly as he came into it. And, we had like kind of a set top 8, top 9 at tight end, and we just lost one. So obviously, you drop him, you move on. Luke Wilson will be his real life backup. I don't think you can count on
two
him.
Ellison Wilson if you're
That's
searching them on Yippee.
That's right.
Well done.
It's key. No, that's good. I bet Yippee though corrects that for you because it knows.
Yeah.
it knows.
It's
who
got
you
good
want.
algorithms.
That's right. So replacements, you're gonna need one. Probably. Like it's funny though because Dissly probably wasn't your drafted tight end,
Right.
so you might have Dissly and Darren Waller or Dissly and but
Greg
if you had like
Olsen, yeah.
Dissly and OJ Howard, you don't feel good about OJ Howard either.
Right.
Is there anyone out there that you can see where you're like, oh, this guy could be on the come up and a decent replacement?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say for this week, I mean, Dawson Knox stands out against the Dolphins for the Bills. He's only owned in like 14% of Yahoo leagues. He seems like an obvious, like, he is young and he could, stick on your roster, but he's certainly probably got one of the best matchups this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, my boy, I've written about him like in 5 different places already, is Darren Fells.
Yeah. Well, I had Fells and Akins. It's kind of weird because it's like, which one do you choose? And I know there have been some injuries in Houston, but they're 3rd and 4th on the team in targets.
Yeah.
Behind Hopkins and Fuller. And their next few games, pretty good tight end matchups against Indy, Oakland, and who's that third one there that I can't even read my writing?
Your own right.
Indy's 3rd worst against tight ends.
Yep.
Oakland's the 7th worst against tight ends. So
Good spots.
definitely some good opportunities there. They've got 5 TDs between them this season.
I mean, 2 straight good games for Fells, 3 out of the last 4. 6-7. I mean, he should be pretty good.
yeah,
Akins
Fells
did.
definitely more than
Yeah.
Akins, but
Yeah.
they're both.
It feels though like I'm on Akins or I'm on Fells this week, so it feels like Akins is going to slide in now.
That's the
It's
problem.
definitely hard to predict. They go two
Right.
tight end a lot. It's sort of like
well, you had the snaps. It's like Fells is playing.
Fells is
more,
always
but-
more, but Akins is always like 80% of
Right.
them too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Akins also a former minor league baseball pitcher. Just want to throw that in there.
I mean, key.
And Fells,
I like athletes.
certainly a red zone target when they get down there. Their offense is moving.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the bar for tight ends to
It's
like play a
low.
guy, like we talked about this last week, I think, 31 yards. Like
Yeah.
that's what, and Fells can get 31 yards.
Yeah.
And it's like, who gets a TD?
Did you guys see the touchdown Fells caught a couple weeks ago where he was there was a cornerback on him and he caught it and then he just held the ball up
yeah,
like
like
it was
Big
his little
Brother.
brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and the other guys too. I feel like we've been talking about them forever. Herndon and Watson. Watson back now
That's
apparently
so weird.
with the Patriots. Herndon had the false start. We thought in his
Running routes alone.
running routes alone. Didn't play last week. Now he's got the
You
Patriots.
shouldn't really run routes unsupervised.
It's amazing. I never do. It's amazing how quickly these guys
Don't try it at home.
fall out of favor. I mean, Herndon was like, we were building it up for weeks. He comes back. And then he just has a
That's the
hamstring
thing, though. There's a
injury.
lot of season left, though.
Good amount.
Especially for a tight end to establish himself. Like,
Well,
I mean,
not a ton of fantasy regular season though.
well, I mean, 7
I mean,
weeks.
yeah,
Halfway
yeah.
after
You got
this week.
7 weeks left.
Yeah.
Playoffs. I plan on being in the playoffs.
I mean,
don't know
I
if you
plan on
guys
getting
do.
the first round
but-
bye.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
but-
plan on having a week 14.
I've got
game.
some work to do.
Yes. All right. Let's get to Amari Cooper. We already mentioned him. Injured last week. Questionable for this week. If he doesn't play, we already kind of talked about how that would affect Dak. But you look at the other Cowboys receivers. There's a lot of Tavon Austin and Cedric Wilson last week.
Yeah.
And your boy Devin Smith's been deactive
Right.
or inactive the last 2 weeks. Aside from Michael Gallup, who I think's in lineups anyway or should be, can you trust any of those secondary guys if Cooper's out?
Trust, no, but the Eagles is certainly a good
That's
matchup.
but that's exactly
if
why.
if you're stuck on bye, one of these guys. I mean, at least I don't like Austin, but at least they find creative ways
That's
to get
what I
on
was
the ball.
going to say. It feels like
guess.
Austin, if he's on the field for like 70 plays, they're going to try to get him the ball on like 8 of them, which I don't think you can say for Cedric Wilson maybe.
No, with a
I mean, your boy's
Cedric-
Evan Smith. I mean, he was like a sleeper early in the year. Why not?
Yeah, I
give him a
honestly
shot,
feel
too.
like he'll just like he got deactivated because
Right.
he's Michael Gallup and Michael Gallup's back.
Which
Obviously
is-
they couldn't play him once Cooper left
Right.
the game last week. I wonder if he'll sort of push way
Right.
back in.
But
But,
that's-
if I was trusting one guy this week, I guess it'd be Tavon Austin.
Yeah, but that's
I'd probably go elsewhere.
That's a tough sell to start him. But that's how I felt about like Hardman. He was Hill.
Right.
So when Hill came back, even if Watkins is out, it doesn't matter for Hardman.
So we just have to ask Jason Garrett, who is Amari Cooper?
yes.
And whatever he answers is the
Isn't it
correct
weird
answer.
that, like the whole
That's-
like thigh bruise just
Yeah.
like keeps an NFL player
it doesn't
out.
sound bad, but you know,
It's like he was in a
But
ton of
it
he
pain.
must
got
be- it
hit
must be
by
a
an
deep
NFL
bruise,
player
Right.
to cause
Does
a
he wear
thigh
thigh
bruise.
pads? You got to wear those thigh pads.
Ah, come on.
No,
I
he's
don't
gonna
wanna
be
wear
fast.
pads.
I'm
Yeah.
wearing the thigh pads right now.
But what you said, asking Jason, well, I know you are, but asking Jason Garrett, who is Amari Cooper, that reminded me of Booger on Monday night saying Matt LaFleur is still trying to figure out who he is. Not as a play caller
Right,
or
absolutely
as a head
is.
coach, just who he is.
Who
he
he
doesn't
is.
know yet. All right.
Booger was
Hey, we're all trying to figure it
upset
out,
Monday
aren't
night.
Yeah,
Those
He was
refs, man.
upset with those
Me
calls.
too, but such is life. All right, Todd Gurley, out last week, kind of late week, popped up. Sean McVay is being weird. It's up to him if he wants to play. Then the Rams are more determined than ever to have a good running game with him
7
out.
straight runs on the opening drive. I was so annoyed. And,
And-
then just garbage the rest of the
You
game.
know, and couldn't push it in from the 1 yard line there. And they went for it on fourth down.
several times.
So where are we sitting right now with Gurley? I mean, it wasn't the knee, it wasn't the arthritis, didn't flare up. I don't know if there was a thunderstorm that caused a domino effect. Where are we at with him and the Rams running game? I mean, we could just talk about the Rams offense as a whole. I think it'll be fine against Atlanta this week. The passing game should be a big time positive regression game. But the running game, I don't know where it's at.
They're so unpredictable. Like they came out without Gurley, ran the ball right down the field, 7 straight rushing plays to receivers, to running backs, whatever. But then a couple weeks prior, when they're which game was it? Where
Tampa
Goff-
game.
Well, the Tampa game, but then also the Seattle game, Goff threw a ton, didn't
Yeah,
he? Where you
yeah,
think like
yeah.
on the road, like in Seattle, you'd think they'd run more and they didn't. But then Gurley's out and they run like the most that they've run this year.
Yeah.
I
It's
told
just,
you,
like,
I
so
got-
weird and unpredictable.
I got
what's
some
going on.
intel that McVay was against that Gurley signing, and maybe he's trying to prove a point. I don't know.
I mean, you should try and win games.
Well, I'm sure he was still trying to win the game. But so the question is this week, let's assume Gurley's back. He's still got to be in lineups, right? There's no worry about
100%.
him.
Yeah.
Especially against Atlanta.
If he's out, Malcolm Brown in lineups
Yeah.
I think you can flex them both.
and Henderson.
Against Atlanta,
Okay.
because it's against Atlanta, because he looked pretty well in his work.
Atlanta's
last
the
week.
opposite of Cincinnati, though. You can throw against them so
Yeah,
easily.
but it's still like a loose defense.
yeah, a loser defense.
that too.
All of
Like
it.
I just think, well, Henderson looked more explosive, had a couple of
Sure
10
did.
plus yard runs. I think they're both on bye weeks in a great matchup or good matchup. I think they're both flex worthy.
Right. I'd agree. I'll throw this one in just because it's a little semi-related. You know, Gurley and the sort of mystery injury. I don't know if you saw the nugget today. Alvin Kamara has a high ankle type issue.
Yeah. I
What does
saw
that mean?
I don't know.
He's got it's somewhere
Sounds
else
like
on his body.
Mid ankle?
But
sounds
it's
like a high ankle
It's
sprain.
like a high ankle sprain, but it's like in his elbow.
Okay.
But like
yeah.
not a
It's like
severe
it, though.
one. I
It's
don't know.
tight.
Right. It reminds them of that.
All right, last guy we'll talk about, kind of a random guy because he hasn't played it all this year, but AJ Green. I think a lot of people are searching him on Yippee because they're trying to figure out, is this dude coming back? Can I drop him? Can I try to trade him? Does he have any value? You know, we speculated that this dude's in a contract year. The team's awful. They have no reason to play him. He has really no reason to play, you know, aside from it's his job.
You want to get a little bit of a
Right.
health resume back for your free agency. I don't think he
so.
wants to sit out the year with free agency looming. I think he wants to be careful,
Mhm.
but I don't think he wants to like go into free agency.
What's worse, though, not playing an entire season or getting injured again? I think it's getting injured again.
It is getting injured again, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that can be like final. I mean, yeah, if he
Right.
tears his ACL and then he's
Well,
out
yeah,
like another
you
year.
know, if he dies, yes, on the field. But if he gets hit
why
by
did you?
lightning.
No,
I
we
don't
didn't
think
have
he
to go
sits.
there.
I don't think he sits out the whole year.
Right.
I mean,
Neither do I.
he's practicing a little bit.
Right.
You're not going to practice a little and not play. The thing I'd be more worried about if I own him already, they have a week 9 bye. That's only 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, whenever we get close to buys, teams seem to err on the side of give it another week. So
Especially a
I
team
feel like
that.
if he doesn't play this week, I don't think he's playing week 8.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So then you're looking at, like, I think he could play this week. There was talks he could possibly suit up. And now you've got Jackson without Jalen Ramsey. That could work.
Right.
But if he doesn't play this week, he's not playing week 8
Yeah,
because
I
the
don't
week
think
9
he's playing
bye.
this week.
So,
So would you ever consider trading for him?
yeah, if I had a good team, which I do. I know, I would. He'd be a hell of a difference maker in the playoffs. Since he's going to be behind.
Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't be worried at all about him playing 3 games, proving he's healthy, proving he can still produce, and then shutting it down.
No, he's not going to play 3 games, not get hurt, and shut it down.
I think he could.
No.
All right.
Guy's a football player.
Okay.
Are there talks that he could be traded in our leagues? I'll definitely get involved in that.
No, there's no talks. I'm just.
I'd trade for
Creating
him.
a
If I had a good team with some extra players,
All right. Would you trade for him?
I don't know. The one thing that worries me with the guy like him, he is injury prone, right? So maybe you trade for him and then he gets hurt again.
Mm-hmm.
You assume he just steps back into, he's on the field every play, but who knows there either. They've had guys show they can play without him.
Auden Tate looks the
Our
part.
favorite guy.
they
But
just throw jump balls to him.
Yeah.
That's their new offense.
it works sometimes. But I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty there. I don't think I would like actively try to do it. If I knew, the AJ Green owner in my league was shopping him, I might reach out and say like, hey, like,
Yeah.
what are you looking for?
You're going to
But-
really lowball it.
I
but
wouldn't
right,
trade-
I'm not trying to trade anybody good for him.
Right.
Like,
I wouldn't trade for him if I had a bad team.
Right.
Like if I'm, we're through 6. If I'm 2-4, I'm not trying to make trades for
hey,
AJ
I'm
Green.
2-4.
If I'm 5-1, and I, if I can maybe get a low ball offer for him, I'll
Right.
take him. Nice little guy to stash on your bench for the
There you go.
playoffs.
All right. Something to think about. AJ Green.
Adriel Jeremiah.
That's right. I'm lower on him, I think, than maybe both of you. Definitely.
Yeah, what would you
but-
do with him?
I mean, if you own him, you're keeping him on your team. You're just like, I hope he comes back. That's it. And I definitely would not accept a lowball offer, and I wouldn't really make even a semi-fair offer for him either if I was trying to acquire
What
him.
if the offer was like Emmanuel Sanders for AJ Green?
I mean, I would accept that if I had AJ Green, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to give up even Emmanuel Sanders for him. And I think he's injury prone and a big worry too.
Yeah.
So, all right, something to think about. Let's get into good matchups, bad matchups. Buys this week. Panthers, Browns, Bucks, Steelers. Kind of a bad week for buys. Obviously, the number 1 player in fantasy's out, and Christian McCaffrey. You don't get to stream a defense against Jameis Winston or Baker Mayfield or Duck Hodges, whoever the hell's starting for the Steelers. So, yeah, it's kind of a sneaky bad week, but,
You
know,
get Chubb out, OBJ out,
That's right.
7 good receivers.
yeah, a bunch of good receivers.
Godwin and Evans.
A few tight ends, none of which are like auto starts, but because it's tight end, losing Greg Olsen, OJ Howard, and maybe Vance McDonald kind of matter.
Yep.
So there you go. It's one of those weeks, but we trudge on. We'll start with quarterback. Good matchups.
A lot of good matchups this week.
Jared Goff, your boy,
Bounce back.
bounce back, positive
Get right.
regression.
Get right game.
Daniel Jones against Arizona. He's been down a couple weeks with bad ones. Finally gets a good one again. Minshew at Cincinnati. We mentioned him. Josh Allen against the Dolphins. Kyler Murray is in here every week, one way or another. We could have added Jimmy Garoppolo to this list too against the Redskins. There's
Jimmy.
lots of guys. That's counting Jimmy. That's 6 guys. If we say start them all, that means guys like your boy Aaron Rodgers, the
My boy.
undroppable Aaron Rodgers. Someone's got to get the bench. Someone's pretty good. I think Phillip Rivers has dropped down to that tier
He's on my bench this
of
week.
getting the bench.
I'm
We'll-
going Allen over
We'll
him.
talk about the bad matchups in a second, but of those guys, I think Goff's a must start,
Sure.
which maybe his owners don't think after last week.
Right.
But
I'm riding or dying. That's the thing. Like as bad as he is,
Well-
like I made my bed with Jared Goff, and I'm gonna lay. in
and
it.
against Atlanta, it's just night and day from the 49ers. The rest of the guys, I think Allen's a must start.
I think so too.
But again, you drafted him as a backup probably, so maybe you have someone better. The other guys are very much on the line. I think Kyler Murray is a must start. Daniel Jones, I like him, but
I don't think he's a must start.
He's not a
Yeah.
must start, but
you probably have someone better too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go Goff, Allen, Murray, Jones, Minshew.
I think that's what
Maybe.
I would do. Too.
Garoppolo, I'd probably put in there 4th. I know I didn't write him down, but he deserves to be up there too. They're such a running team, though. He almost feels like Cousins in a way, where he's very much a game manager. This is a favorable matchup, but they're almost even more of a running team than Minnesota in a lot of ways because they don't have as good a receiver.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota's got 2 really good receivers, and the
They have a good
49ers
tight
like
end.
to drop touchdown passes.
Right, not Dante Pettis, not this week. He's my guy. He's my pick him up before waivers even clear guy. So.
Yeah, there's shady stuff happening this morning.
That's on Yahoo. That's not on me.
In the Sporting News Experts
That's on
League.
Yahoo. If a guy has FA and is available to be picked up,
10 minutes before waivers run, he's picking up a guy.
I can't be.
That's
I can't
pretty
be held
sad, though.
responsible.
Did you set an alarm to wake up?
Yeah,
to
why
pick
were
up
you up
Dante
so
Pettis?
early?
No, I had to get up and pee.
No, he don't believe him.
No, on this one I did.
Yeah, you set an alarm though.
No, I had to get up and pee. After my alarm went off, I realized I had to get up to pee.
How close was your laptop to your pillow?
Oh,
Dude, you could do it on your phone, couldn't you?
Yeah, I don't make pickups on my phone.
No, that's dangerous.
Definitely not that early.
That's such a young guy
Oh,
thing to do.
yeah,
no way,
no
man.
way.
Full-
No way.
I mean, I would go hardwire internet to make a
Oh
pickup.
yeah. I don't
if
even.
I could.
Oh, I dial up just to be safe. No, yeah, phone pickups. Whew, not that early either.
Such a youngin', Billy. Such a youngin'.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well.
He'll learn. All right, but yeah, for sure. I think they're all very much playable, and it comes. So let's look at the bad matchup. See if we'd play him over any of these guys. Kirk Cousins against the Lions, Carson Wentz against Dallas, and touchdown Tommy Brady against the Jets. You know, he had to steal Sony Michel's touchdown, a real varsity blues thing last week, stealing his touchdowns to have value last week against a pretty bad Giants defense. They played the Jets already this year. He had 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, granted, that was with Luke Falk at quarterback for the Jets, so a lot of short fields, a lot of the Patriots being on the field. Maybe Darnold changes that a little bit. Could you see benching any? I think Cousins gets the bench.
Yeah.
Really, I was going to say he's the most startable one out of these three.
Well, so Detroit's interesting. They're giving up like the 4th most pass yards a game, but I looked at it. The teams they faced this year, all in the top 11 in pass attempts, 4 of them in the top 9. So they're facing teams that throw a lot. I think it's a little skewed. We know the Vikings don't want to throw if they don't have to. So I think Cousins goes back to just handing the ball off to his backfield duo.
Yeah, but Detroit's not bad, and
They're
I
bad
think it's
against
gonna-
the run.
I think it's going to be a competitive game, so they're going
I
to have
agree
to
with
throw it
that.
a little bit. And you know, he's got the best 2 out of these 3 bad matchups. He's got the best receivers out of all of them.
Well, if Deshaun Jackson's back, that might be Philly.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that. He's still not
But-
practicing.
Yeah, I know, but they at least left the door open.
Wait. You would say that Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson is a better combo
Well,
than
the complete throw in Ertz.
Ertz, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll throw this out at you. I don't have the exact stat on it, but I can give
Okay.
you a.
Well, that's
kind of-
helpful.
So when when NFC East teams play each other, so would that be an intra division game?
Sure.
They tend to go under the totals.
Okay.
And when those teams play outside of the division,
This is a sharp.
they tend to go
nugget.
over. So a lot of people think like, oh, good, a couple good offenses playing shootout. No, when the NFC East plays intra-division games,
It stays low.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a reason to knock Wentz.
and without throw Djax out of there, and
right.
yeah, I mean Wentz is kind of a 202 guy right now too.
Well, nah, I don't know about that. He's a little higher, but you're right. He's been a little disappointing. Why is that funny?
I don't know. Just like the whole. I was just thinking about the 202 thing.
Right.
It had nothing to do with you saying higher.
Yeah.
It was just like that's like boom. This guy's 202.
Yeah.
This guy's 202.
Well, it used to be 250 and 2, but
Yeah.
that's why I think you were shortchanging him a little bit. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like Brady, it feels like you have to play Brady. And you look at the Jets, there's still a perception they're not very good, but they kind of are defensively.
Yeah, they're all right.
And if
Yeah.
Gordon's, that's a Monday night game.
Gordon feels like he's going to be out. Dorsett, maybe.
We don't know. Monday night game. This feels like the old
The thing is,
ground
their
and pound
passing
pass.
offense has not looked good in general.
Exactly.
And when it goes bad, they just go down to the like James White thing.
Yeah.
White and Edelman, short passes.
And they don't have old Gronk to bail them out.
I could see this being a low scoring game too.
So I kind of don't like Brady this week. Question is, would I play Daniel Jones over him? Feels like you shouldn't, but I kind of think you should. But I probably don't have the balls to pull that if I had that decision.
Yeah, I don't think in the end they're going to probably be much.
Right.
Like I don't think you're going to lose much if you did that.
Right. I like Allen more than him, though. I like Murray more than him.
Allen for sure.
Yeah.
Allen and Goff for sure. Like they're easily the best 2 on that list.
And then I think Murray. I think Murray 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. But Cousins, I think, is totally matchup based, and it has to be wildly favorable for me to want to play him.
They look better in recent weeks throwing the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were playing some bad defenses,
Yeah.
man.
They just want to run.
I'm not as down.
4th fewest pass attempts.
I'm not as down on Brady this week as you guys.
Okay.
I like even if they have to do the James White and Edelman thing, like
Right.
we've seen Brady put up good stat lines in those kind of games.
And he's going to sneak one in because he doesn't want. So
I know the Jets look good last week.
Right.
The Cowboys are probably a little overrated. The Patriots are better in
Yeah,
a
and
broad
Cooper got
sense.
hurt, so that helped.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Brady will have a good game. I do think Goff and Josh Allen probably are both plays over him, but any of those other guys, I still might stick with Brady.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because Murray's on the road at least, rookie on the road. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass on the road yet. I think it's only 2 games, but something to look at. All right, running back. Favorable. The Bills guys, we assumed Devin Singletary would be back against a Dolphins defense that made Adrian Peterson look good last week. Royce Freeman, my boy, he's got to score eventually against the Chiefs. 49ers backs against the Redskins. Chase Edmonds, resurgent. That implies he's surged before. But Chase Edmonds against the Giants. I threw Joe Mixon on here just because he's been so frustrating, I think, for his owners. But on paper, Jacksonville gives up a lot of fantasy points to backs, which you might not think. Looking at those, so Frank Gore's in lineups, right? Or he should be.
He's in mine.
Yep.
I'm not super excited.
Are you
about
starting
it.
him over Carry-On?
No, he's in my other lineup.
Okay.
He is in a lineup.
There you go. So, but Devin Singletary, we haven't seen him for a while. He wasn't getting huge touches before the injury. Are we starting him this week?
No, I don't think you can.
I think he sort of falls in that same flex area that, like, I would put him above Darrell Henderson, who we were talking about earlier.
Right.
But, like, if Malcolm Brown was the starter there, I think Brown's ahead of him just by virtue of touches. But I think he's sort of the, I don't know, if you grouped a bunch of running backs together that are sort of the 1B.
Let's group them.
All right.
Royce, Breida, Edmonds, and Singletary. How are we
So
ordering
Edmonds, David Johnson's playing.
them? Yeah, I mean, I assume.
All right. I would probably go Royce, Singletary, Breida, Edmonds.
Okay.
I think Freeman's like guaranteed to get more touches. I don't think that's true for Breida or Edmonds, and Singletary's got a great matchup.
I actually put Breida 1. Then I'll go Royce.
See, this is bullshit because you're just trying to incent me into
That's not
playing
true at
Breida
all.
over
That's
Freeman.
not true at all. I think
You accused me of inception
Like,
last week and beat me by
that's right.
45.
I get that they
Well, yeah,
I
it
get
didn't
that they
work,
like
but
to
yeah.
split carries. I get that Coleman's the goal line guy. I just when Breida's healthy, like he's fast, he's quick, like he's good in space.
Oh, he is good in space.
good in
Unlike
space.
most guys who are just
Unlike
in
Matt
space.
Breida.
He's available for
Yes, Breida is not as good
He's
in
available for a big play at any time. Like I like
He's
Breida.
available for a big play.
Yeah,
He's there.
I'm here, guys.
he's-
I'm open to it.
I mean, who are my choices? I like Breida.
Breida and Breida.
I like both of those guys. I guess over
Royce, Singletary.
Freeman, and then I'll go Singletary, and then Edmonds is 4th.
Yeah, Edmonds, the touches, it went down to 7 last week, even though he scored again. It does
He's
feel
a dangerous play, man.
it feels a little touchdown or bust, but it is a good matchup. And I mean, Johnson is going to keep, I think, coming out of games. Not totally, but just we got to keep him fresh because of the back thing. He'll get his touches, but if it's only 7, that is dangerous, even though he's pretty explosive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't see
Singletary might
Singletary
only
getting
get
7.
7.
Yeah, I don't
He
see him
might.
getting more than that. Yeah,
You know, so, but I like the matchup better against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So I would go Royce, Breida, Singletary, Edmonds. I'm weird with Breida just because I feel like it's so hard for him to get touchdowns. They have to be those big plays like he scored on him on that.
but
Monday night.
but at the same time, like a lot of guys, like Freeman has trouble getting touchdowns.
His
Like,
has to be
a
at
lot
least
of guys.
Is 5 yards.
A
out
lot of guys have trouble
further.
getting
Yeah.
touchdowns.
I know. Freeman, it kills me, man. Every week, Billy and I sit there Sunday and talk about it. Those backs are completely interchangeable. Passing downs, anything, except when the Broncos get inside the 5. Then it's
And
Lindsey
again,
all day.
That's not how it was last year. Last year, that's when
Different coach.
Freeman had less touches.
Right.
But you were like, well, inside the 5, he had some red zone
I
scores
mean,
last year.
former
Little Fangio.
Wagner offensive coordinator Rick Scangarello
right.
knows what he's doing.
That's right. But I think they are all they're all at least playable, certainly as flexes for most people, I would guess. Joe Mixon, you got to keep starting him, right? Even
Yeah.
though Bernard plays more than I think anyone would like. No one
They're always
has.
behind.
Not more than Gio's mother, probably.
That's
She's
right.
probably happy
That's
he's
true.
playing a lot.
But I don't think there's a running back, especially a good running back in the league, who has more stat lines like 8 carries, 10 yards than Joe Mixon.
It's not a bad team. Bad offensive line,
But-
trailing a lot, bad game script.
I mean, how do you have that few yards?
Well, that what's crazy is that even if they're behind, like you still want to get your athletes the ball, right?
Right.
Like just throw them the ball.
Well, it's weird that he comes down and out in situations like that so much
Yeah.
because, like, I don't think he's a worse pass catcher than Bernard is.
Not really.
So if you think he's better in general, why isn't he in the game?
I don't know. It's a weird thing. But
Well, and also like there's a
Stick
difference
with them
between
this
like running the routes that say like James White runs, like
right.
actual wide receiver
Right.
routes, versus
just like being in the flat.
a mid-20s NFL player can't catch a screen pass
Right.
and then be an athlete.
Right. Just you do the whole thing where you're like, do I need to block? No.
I mean, these
All right,
guys
I'll
do.
stand here and
These
wait for a
guys like
pass.
do have hands.
Yeah. Well, no, I've seen.
Well, I mean, he caught like 40-something passes last year.
Yeah.
Like, he can be a receiving back.
I've always, even like back in the day, we can go back to Adrian Peterson when the Vikings would not throw him the ball.
Yeah,
and he
that was so weird.
It was like, yes, don't have him run a route, but he can
You
run a
know,
screen
the ultimate
pass.
example of that, you might know who I'm going to say is Barry Sanders. Talk about a guy who was good in space.
Yeah, he's good in
and,
space.
And they just never seem to want to throw him little swing passes.
It's like, I get it. Like, you can't run
Whatever.
a wide receiver route, but I'm pretty sure you can turn around, grab a
Right.
screen pass, and then be an athlete.
Be a running back.
So a guy who can run a wide receiver out, Le'Veon Bell. This is bad matchups. Le'Veon Bell against the Patriots. The aforementioned Adrian Peterson against the Niners. David Montgomery against the Saints. And the Chargers backs against Tennessee. So some big names in there. So Le'Veon to me falls in the mixing category of you got to start him no matter what. Just too many touches, too active in the passing game. But don't feel great about him. Certainly this week.
Yeah, I'm fine with him. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even put him in. You can say put him in the mixing category as you got to start him, but I feel way better about Le'Veon Bell than
Yeah,
mix
so
it.
do I.
I mean, the floor.
Even this week with the matchups being on the opposite end
Absolutely,
of the spectrum.
because Le'Veon, you're sure that of those like easy catches, especially if you're in a PPR league.
He only had one catch last week.
yeah, which is weird.
Right.
But I mean, they're gonna want to do that.
Right. Well, this game feels like they should be trailing. They should dump to him a lot, but who knows? But yeah, he's a starter. We don't need to waste too much time on him. But Peterson, I mean, we've kind of already said it. Back to the
Back to the
dustbin.
bench against San Francisco.
Back to the bin. Montgomery though, and the Chargers guys, I think tough calls. People have high hopes for Montgomery. Melvin Gordon's Melvin Gordon. Eckler's been awesome,
Eckler's been catching passes like crazy.
but not last week. I mean,
yeah.
Gordon was playing more in those situations.
Montgomery's weird. They give him the ball a ton, but he can't do anything with it.
Yeah, could
See
be the
if they
line, could be
come
the
out of the
QB.
bye any different. I don't know.
Saints have they had a great run defense last
you
year.
could
too.
easily put Montgomery down this week for
I
sure.
think so. That sounds sad. Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's on the outside. But then you get into would you play him over Devin Singletary, Royce Freeman,
I'd play him.
Breida,
I'd say not Freeman, not Breida.
I'd play him over
all those
all
guys?
those guys. I mean,
Just the
Montgomery,
touches,
I think he's
basically?
getting 16 to 20 touches.
Right.
And I mean, your team, I definitely those timeshare guys, I would play him over.
He's got the best chance for a touchdown for sure. I'd definitely play him over Singletary. Like, no, that's
Right.
easy. Freeman and Breida,
It's tough with those matchups.
they got good matchups. They
And
do
they
get
get
the ball.
touches. They get like 13 at
Yeah.
least.
Montgomery's
Yeah, I
got the best chance for a touchdown, but
Right.
he's probably got the least chance for like
Good yards.
good yards. Yeah.
I kind of agree, but it is those are tough. And then Melvin,
Does it matter if Chase Daniel or Mitchell Trubisky's the quarterback? We obviously don't really
No.
know what's going on there yet.
I don't think it matters.
You don't have any Chase Daniel scoop from
Not
your
anymore, man.
Missouri friends?
Yes, when we go to London and lay the egg that he laid, I can't. I got to get off the train. I'm a Max Scherzer guy for Mizzou athletes.
Okay.
I have been forever, so it's all about Max Scherzer now. But Melvin and Eckler, really weird game
First
last
name
week.
basis.
Yeah, for both of them. For one of them.
That's correct.
Right. But that's
Gordon Eckler.
yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah, he sounds like it almost sounds like Gordon Gekko
Right.
from Wall Street. But that's a weird one because last week was a very weird game. Just the game flow of it. You could say
Yeah.
the week before was too, but last week was really weird for that
Chargers are a
team.
bit of a mess right now.
They feel like a mess. They're going on the road. Titans do have they haven't allowed more than 20 points in a
Yeah,
game.
I still
this
think
year.
both of these guys are playable. I mean, pending, I guess, the other people you have in your team, but I think you play them both.
It's tough to sit them, especially in PPR, but I don't like them.
Yeah, I don't think you could sit Eckler in PPR at all. But it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be one of those games that's low possessions because the Titans will run a lot, the Chargers will run a decent amount. There won't be like a blowout, so the Chargers I don't think will have to do too much passing,
Mm-hmm.
at least to the backs. I do agree with
Can
Eric.
they gain yards?
Is it going to be
though?
a blowout? I mean, they couldn't even beat Pittsburgh last week.
No, that's what I said. I don't. It's
Yeah.
not going to be
Yeah,
a blowout. So it's not like
But it's like, can they run? Like they can't run.
I'm not sure, but I don't think you can really take those guys out of your lineup.
Ugh, God.
How do we feel about them then versus Freeman and Breida?
I would play them over Melvin. First name basis Melvin. It's real tough to say, but it's like weird with Eckler now because Gordon was playing so many passing downs
Right.
last week.
I mean, before the game, the week before got out of hand, Gordon was in on some pass plays too.
Right.
so-
And I mean, Eckler had like, I want to say 6, maybe it was 5. I mean, he had so many receptions on that very last drive.
Right.
That was just check down city when they were down 2 possessions. That really inflated. I mean, they were already high. He already had like 8-9 catches, so
Right.
it was already high, but that made it look out of this world. with
Right.
15.
The only thing I'll say with him and the catches is with Hunter Henry back, and I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
With the Chargers basically dumping things off all year and Rivers not throwing deep. Henry probably eats into Eckler's
Definitely.
catches a little bit.
And this is 2 bad games in a row for Keenan Allen. I thought they were going to try to, get him going last week, forcing him the ball. They really didn't. He keeps throwing to Mike Williams, I think too much, but he kind of always seems open, but then something doesn't go right, whether it's Rivers or Williams. They're a weird team. I really don't like those guys. Tough to sit them, but definitely not must starts. I'll put it that way. Let's get to wide receiver. Good matchups. Packers guys who we don't know who it's going to be, but the Pack could be old Alan Lazard.
Young Allen Lazard.
Alan Lazard sounds like a made-up player in Madden.
Yeah.
Like from the draft classes.
Yeah.
I got this dude, Alan Lazard. He's got
Right.
good speed. I like him. I'm gonna try and get him the ball and like
How much
improve his
How much does
ratings.
it change our view of him if the refs correctly call him down at the 1 like he was, and he doesn't have a touchdown on his?
So he has 4
Stat
for
line.
64 in the fourth quarter
And
with
no
no
touchdown.
touchdown.
Everyone was like, by the way, that catch was like, I can't believe Aaron Rodgers threw that over. So it
Dropped
was
a
so
dime.
perfect. I'm like, it's a pretty sweet catch though.
Oh, it was both.
Like, because there were hands in his face and on the sideline.
Also, it's funny, the whole I can't believe Aaron Rodgers made that throw
Yeah.
narrative. Like, Aaron Rodgers can make any throw.
yeah. We're
I
used to
just
seeing
need to
that.
see that. Like, Lazard get some credit for that.
Yeah, no, he's getting it here. All right, 49ers
Because we
receivers.
hate Aaron Rodgers here.
That's right. Aaron Rodgers receivers against the Redskins.
Wait.
What did I say?
Hey, it's still right. You said Aaron Rodgers.
You said Aaron
receivers.
Rodgers receivers.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're against Oakland.
Against Oakland.
Yes, and the 49ers receivers are
There you
against the
go.
Redskins. Bills receivers against the Dolphins, and Giants receivers against the Cardinals. So basically with the Packers, if Adams is back, obviously he starts. If Adams is out, we got Valdez Scantling again, 3rd week in a row we're debating this guy when he hasn't done much.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Allison is going to be out. So then if Adams is out, you got MVS and our boy Lazard. Who are you starting there? If
You
anyone.
can only think about MVS
That's it.
because I don't
Whether
think we
Adams
know
plays
it's-
or not.
if Adams plays, you play Devontae Adams.
Well,
and
yes,
I don't
but-
think you play MVS.
Okay.
If MVS is the number 1, I think you can think about him, but I don't think we even know how it's going to break down among the other
Right.
guys enough to even think about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a major crapshoot
Yeah.
to think like
Especially with game manager Aaron Rodgers.
the thing that like Lazard's gonna do any more than the other guys or do anything at all.
What's the point, though?
They only played him after Darius Shepard let an interception hit off his face.
Right.
So maybe that continues, but maybe they still like Darius Shepard
Right.
more.
No, I agree.
Now, with that said, what did you say? There's like 7 legitimate starting receivers on bye this week.
Yeah. DJ Moore,
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, Jarvis Landry, Odell, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Juju.
Yeah. So that's a lot of guys out.
Juju's barely.
The wide receiver 3 borderline.
Yeah, borderline. Boomer, on the boomer bust on the bubble. So the 49ers guys, Dante Pettis hasn't done much, but he's getting the most snaps. He's getting the most targets of the wide receivers.
He's worth
Billy
getting
and
up
I,
at 5 a.m. for pick up.
I mean, sometimes
To
you got
use
to
your
do what you got to
commissioner
do.
tools.
But the other, because that's how I got it. But Deebo Samuel hurt, groin injury. I'd kind of be surprised if he played. He seemed to be the other guy who was getting all the
Right.
snaps and the playing time. Well, Marquise Goodwin he's a classic is what he is guy. He might get the home run ball, but if he doesn't, that's it. So I really like Pettis this week. Obviously, I set my alarm for 4:30 just to be safe. Ran some laps. He slept with my,
Ran some laps. What does that
laptop.
have to
You
do with
didn't run
anything?
some laps.
You got to sweat off the excitement of getting Dante Pettis. But yeah, so I don't know
That
though.
seems like fake news.
Yeah, it's pretty fake. What do you think about that though? You in on him being decent?
I like Pettis as a play this week.
just
as a wide
sort of
receiver
a
3.
right
Like-
because of the matchup against the Redskins.
Matchup, right? And especially like we talked about those guys on bye, you sort of are in a spot where maybe you're just looking for a 1 week guy.
I definitely
And I
am
think-
with Juju on bye.
Right, and I
Yeah.
think he works perfectly in that
but no
spot.
reason to play any of the other guys.
Debo's kind of interesting if he's healthy, but we don't really know what's up.
Yeah.
And Goodwin
Seems like a DFS tournament play.
Goodwin's a DFS guy or a deeper league guy where you just need to take a shot on some points.
Right.
They're going to run the ball 40 times.
They probably will though. That's
That's
Is that a
play
1
action.
o'clock start or 4 o'clock start on
1
the East
o'clock.
Coast?
It's 1 o'clock, man.
That's tough. That makes it tougher.
yeah. The late starts We got two, non-West Coast with the Titans and Bears getting 4:00 games.
Ugh, what a gross 4:00. Maybe they're trying to juice the offense
I
in
hate
that
that
game.
when it's
They're like, maybe if
dark.
we put him at 4, the offense will go and weird stuff will
I
happen.
hate it when it's dark in the second half. Like Chargers Titans gonna be such a blah game, and then it's gonna get dark. I don't want to watch that game.
You're probably
Don't.
gonna watch it.
Beat it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it, but we're gonna be watching them all. So then the Bills, obviously John Brown must start.
Yep.
But the other two guys, old Duke there, drop a dookie on him, and then Cole
That's
Beasley.
Duke Williams, by the way,
Yes.
since nobody actually knows who he is yet.
That's right. Those two guys feels like it's a very similar situation to the 49ers guys, where they're largely unproven. Williams had a nice little game before their bye. He caught all 4 targets, 29 yards, touchdown, played a ton of snaps. Beasley's Beasley. We know what he is in PPR. Can you take a chance with either of them against the Dolphins, or are they just too unproven or too low floor?
I think you're reaching here. I mean,
I
this
like
is
Duke, man.
really a dart throw for a TD.
I don't think it's that much of a dart throw.
I think the thing that worries me is I only think one of them has a good game,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really know how to predict which one that is. I think
Right.
like one of them will get 8 targets, and
Right.
the other one might get 3.
Right. Because we already know Brown will do well. We kind of like Dawson Knox. We like the running backs. There's
Are
only
they
so
even going
much
to be
to
in
go
third
around.
down against Miami? Because that's where Beasley.
That's true.
If they're not in third down, Beasley's not getting the ball.
Right.
Does it,
I think I think if you're like looking at a spot where you're like, I got to pick one of these Bills receivers against the Dolphins. If you're in PPR, you go Beasley. If you're not, you go Williams because he's got the better touchdown.
does it
chance.
make you feel better about him, Eric, that he was a CFL star?
Who's that?
Duke Williams?
No, it doesn't.
He got dismissed from Auburn. Does that help or hurt?
That helps.
Okay, there you
Because
go.
I'm like, ooh, Auburn won a good
Yeah.
pedigree. Got
He was-
dismissed.
he was-
probably thought he was too good for the rules.
Well, he was a
I like
5-star
that.
JUCO recruit.
I like it.
Went to
I like
Auburn, then he got kicked off like a month in.
Oh, I'm fine with that. No,
Yeah.
that's an upgrade. That's better than
I like
CFL
troubled
stuff.
troubled SEC
Yeah, because it's
players.
like, hey, I didn't follow the rules because I was too good.
Right.
I just needed to be out of the college
He
environment.
needed to get to
in
the CFL
pros.
ASAP.
I needed this to be my job.
He's not there to play school.
No,
Yeah.
he's there to run routes.
That's right. All right, Giants guys. I feel like do we know if Shepard's going to be back? Where we're-
Shepard is the one that's the least
Right,
sure
least-
of the Giants guys.
Right.
They were thinking yesterday that he's probably a no-go.
Right. So Golden Tate, I think, proved against the Patriots that you kind of got to start him. Speaking of dimes, Danny Dimes dropped one on Tate in that game.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
There you go.
That game was That game was gross.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a dumb game.
It was a dumb game. Yeah.
Because it was like the Giants were in it, but did anyone think the Giants were
Like the
actually gonna
Giants
pull it off?
defense had a good game. Brady was stealing rushing touchdowns.
The Giants had touchdowns from Golden Tate and Marcus Golden.
That's right.
I just am.
Mizzou.
I'm just
There
looking
you go.
forward to some competitive Patriots games maybe at some point this
For
year.
God's sake.
It would have been nice if their schedule.
Well, how
was
about play a decent team then?
Trying
Enough of this SEC
Nobody wants to play us.
non-conference.
Nobody wants to play us.
Yeah, playing Sun Belt teams.
We try and schedule stuff,
Good
but no one will
Lord.
play us.
All right, but those other guys then. Let's just assume Shepard's out.
Sure.
Tate's in a lineup. Darius Slayton, like you're not starting them, right?
No, I mean,
Because you assume Engram's he's gonna eat.
Right.
right. And Barkley should be back and have a good game.
Right.
Darius Slayton just sounds like
I
a
mean-
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
he
doesn't have
does.
good hands.
Well, it's because it's like Darius Slay.
Yes.
It's a ton.
Very,
It's
very-
a ton of Darius Slay.
you think they'll cover each other? Darius Slay and Darius Slayton
Do
will
they
cover
play?
each
Do they
other?
play each other this year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right?
That's big.
Yeah.
No, Slayton for me is behind the 49ers and Bills guys, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he is like a guy if you're in a weird spot, like
Yeah.
you could play him. He might have 4 for 50. But
Right. Another DFS tournament
Yeah.
guy. All right, bad matchups. The Chiefs will take out Tyreek Hill because he's a must start.
And on the Chiefs, as we were here, Adam Schefter reported that Sammy Watkins is out.
Okay,
So no
there you
Sammy
go.
Watkins.
So the DeMarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, Byron Pringle triumvirate against Denver on Thursday night. The Jets receivers, who made a little noise last week against New England, and then our old friend Mike Williams there against Tennessee. So I think you can't start any of the Chiefs guys who aren't Tyreek Hill. It's just too many different guys. You don't know who's going to get it. They all have the upside, the potential to catch a long touchdown in that offense. And plus Denver's number 4 pass defense. I don't know. That's a total dart throw.
It's certainly an interesting contrast to like the Dante Pettis or Duke Williams dart throw, right?
Mhm.
Because DeMarcus Robinson has Patrick Mahomes. He's like done it, but he's got the hard matchup. So I honestly just started talking and don't know which one I would play. But it's an interesting contrast there. It's sort of you're taking like bad matchup, good quarterback, a little
Mhm.
more pedigree, and you're putting it against these guys that are like, who's that guy?
Right. No, I agree. It is also weird, too. Again, the blueprint to beat the Chiefs is out there. I think Denver fits that blueprint perfectly, and we saw it last week. Just Chiefs didn't have the ball in the second half. We saw it the week before. Chiefs didn't have the ball in the second half, and they can strike quick when they do get it. But it's frustrating if you own, I own Travis Kelce, and it's just like, get the ball, let them score, get the ball, so my guys can do something. So I don't know. You got any thoughts, Eric, on the Chiefs?
No, I mean I've been saying all along the other Chiefs receivers, they're all dart throws. None of them are consistent. They can always hit for a 40-yard bomb.
Semi-irrelevant.
Like you can play one if you really need to, I guess, but there's other guys I think they get more consistent targets.
How many times are we going to see the left-handed throw when we're watching that game?
Have we seen one yet this year?
No, I mean the replay.
Yeah.
Is that who he did against?
Yeah. That's going to be
great. Cool. Can't
nonstop.
wait.
At least 4, by the way.
At least 4. Over under. Jets guys. So Robbie Anderson with the big game last week, 92-yard touchdown. Crowder, what's his average? He had 17 and 9 with Darnold at cornerback, so seems to be the favorite target, so to speak.
Revenge game for Demaryius Thomas.
Big time revenge game for Demaryius Thomas. He's mad. Maybe Chris Herndon's back. I don't know, but they're playing the Pats. Like historic defense. Let's just go there, Eric.
It's a little much. They haven't played anyone yet.
Well, it's historic. I mean, they played a fully loaded Steelers team.
They did.
With Dante Moncrief.
I do think there's a little bit of I do think the Patriots defense is good.
Yes.
But I still think they're a little bit untested. Now they're doing so well against bad teams, so that's good. They're not even letting them in, in terms of like offensive TDs.
Right.
But they still haven't really been tested. But with that said, I think the Jets will move it a little. I don't know what. I mean, I guess you got to play Robbie Anderson.
Do you?
I don't know.
I'm more likely to play Crowder for the targets.
Well, it seems like
it just comes down to who's Gilmore on,
I feel like the Patriots have been beat on some big plays.
Okay, that's
like
fair.
the Golden Tate beaten deep. Even I know this isn't. They had the reverse against Washington.
Right.
Stevie Sims.
Like I feel like if anything, they've gotten beat on a few big plays. So maybe
that's Anderson.
Maybe that's Anderson. I don't think Thomas
is this a Crowder in PPR, Anderson in standard? That's how you play this one.
Yeah, I mean Crowder maybe in either. I guess like Demaryius to me is not worth starting.
Was he worth wavering?
He certainly wasn't worth wavering this morning in the Experts League.
Bill Bender.
I'm glad he wavered him and didn't go pick up your Dante Pettis and waiver him.
I'd have been mad.
Yeah, that's what
because you picked him up before.
Well, no, if they're wavered, they're reserved. That's how it works. Like,
I know how.
Because
it's okay. We can not do this.
But I mean, what do you guys think? I think Anderson and Crowder are startable. I wouldn't start Thomas.
I agree with that they're both startable. I think Crowder definitely has a little more floor. Like he probably will see 8 or 10 targets again, as long as they don't just have a terrible offensive day. Anderson will need to hit. I mean, obviously, besides the 92-yard touchdown last week, he had 4 for 33, I think, which isn't exciting anybody. But all it takes is one with him.
I actually think the Jets will move the ball a little against the Pats.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it might not be a high-scoring game.
Right.
I think it'll be a competitive game, and I don't think the Patriots will blow them out. Maybe they extend the lead in the fourth quarter, which seems to be what they're doing. Like they're playing first halves, and they kind of pull away. I definitely see it being a competitive game for at least a half or 3 quarters.
Mike Williams, threw him on here just because he does seem to be getting a lot of targets lately. Tennessee's brutal against receivers, though. They just really shut him down. Any reason why? Because you got to start Keenan Allen, but is there any reason now, especially with Hunter Henry back, to bother with Mike Williams? And I guess really the question is he droppable? Is he not? Is he any different than a lot of wide receivers?
I don't think I'd drop him just because he's such a red zone threat.
But is he with Henry back? I feel that really eats into that.
We saw one game of Henry catching
Well, we saw,
TDs.
last year where he had 10 touchdowns and Henry was out, and it seemed to help him there too. I don't know. I feel like
I wouldn't jump
a viable tight end. Really
I don't think I'd drop him either.
I think you can sit him this week if you need to or if you want to.
I think he's definitely
he's droppable.
Yeah. All right, let's go to tight end and the good matchups. We already mentioned Darren Fells against the Colts. Noah Fant, who he's had good matchups like 3 weeks in a row and hasn't done anything, so I don't know where we're at with that guy. Jimmy Graham should have had a touchdown last week, dropped it. Well, it was a tough catch, but should have probably had it. Against Oakland, Gerald Everett, everyone's favorite sleeper, turned everyone's least favorite bust last week. He's at Atlanta.
So predictable, though, wasn't it? After the big game and everyone's like number one waiver claim that he wasn't going to do anything.
That's just that offense. There's so many mouths to feed, and they weren't feeding anyone last week. Yeah. So you look at that group.
Should have had a 50-yard TD, though.
That's true.
With that said.
Yeah. With that said. So looking at that group, look, there's 8 tight ends who it's like, yes, these guys are starters. I think there's 8. And with, especially like we said, with Greg Olsen on bye, O.J. Howard on bye, et cetera, there's 4 people in your league, maybe more if people are hoarding 2 of those guys, where you're going to have to start someone that's unpalatable. So, I mean, is it these guys?
I mean, we don't have Knox on here.
Right.
Who I actually probably like better than Fells, Fant, and Graham.
Okay.
Everett, there should be a lot of passing yards in that game.
Right. I think he's sort of the consensus number 9 just because of the offense and the matchup. But, Fells has a better matchup on paper, specifically about tight ends, and I think so does Fant. And
I want to like Fant, but he just
doesn't do anything.
He's not much part of the offense.
I think season high is like 34 yards.
Throwing the ball isn't a big part of their offense.
Right.
They've actually been in games lately. So, I mean, I guess if they were to fall behind, if their running game plan doesn't work against Kansas City and they have to throw, but they don't want to throw.
I mean, he got the first carry of the season in week 1, first play of the season, so he should be part of that running game.
But, Fellas, I could start. I still think Graham, with the receivers being down in Green Bay, I still think he's as good a shot as any for a TD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If not, like a decent amount of targets in the middle of the field.
Right.
Everett's got a great matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fant's 4th on my list here.
Yeah, Fant's 4th for me too. He's like always just so slightly involved. It's like you can be confident you'll get 3 points out of him.
It's enough to tease you, basically. So the bad guy, Herndon, I don't even know if he counts against New England. And then we'll throw both Colts guys, statistically a bad matchup against Houston. Ebron, I think, still has name value. He scored a couple times. He has 9 catches this year on 20 targets. That's it.
It's not good.
I feel like he's not a starter. But again, if you're someone who's like start Noah Fant or Eric Ebron, you're probably just going to default to Ebron because of last year. But I don't think that's the right move.
I think the right move is finding another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Trading for Jared Cook.
Listen,
Eric,
man,
this guy's trying to peddle Jared Cook around our league. He's going to drop him in 2 days.
I dropped him this morning. But,
there you go.
But here's my point. We talk about tight ends every week and how few there are. Right? And you've got buys. Why not see if someone will give me some sort of backup with a little upside for him?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't fault you.
I mean, I'm not trying to trade him for a starting running back.
Right. I don't fault you. The only thing I fault you for is asking me if I had interest in him.
I really did.
Okay.
You know that I really did.
Okay.
There were 2 or 3 teams in our league that you could make an argument could have used a Jared. Listen, I picked up
teams in every league.
I picked up Jared Cook last week, and he got a touchdown for me.
Did.
He's a better bet than most of these guys on a weekly basis.
Yeah, he was a chef last week.
He'll be on Billy's team in a couple days as soon as he's off waivers.
Nah, I've got Everett, man.
Yeah, that's right. He's got Jerry. Yeah. All right. Defenses, real quick. Not a lot of good under the radar ones. Like I said, a lot of those.
This sucks.
The stream against teams are on bye, or they're facing actual good defenses this week. But the one would be that matchup head to head, Giants Cardinals. Both are potentially in play with rookie quarterbacks going there. The Chargers now suddenly a mess.
Yeah, they're not a good defense. They're my defense in one league, and they're just not a good defense.
Well, that's like Baltimore. Even when they have a good matchup, it's just like they're just bad.
Yeah.
But they're facing a Tennessee team that's. I think Tannehill's better because he'll take more chances, whereas Mariota is just blah. They go 3 and out.
Yeah.
But Tannehill actually kind of makes the Chargers a little more interesting. I feel like they should get more sacks than they do.
They should,
they don't.
But they don't.
And then bad matchups, Packers statistically against Oakland's a bad matchup, and the Bears against the Saints, although at home against Teddy Bridgewater wouldn't scare me.
I wouldn't be worried about Packers against the Raiders. I know the Raiders had a good game before the bye against the Bears, but I mean, across the pond, who the heck knows? The Packers' pass rush has been nasty this year.
That's just it. I think they're just legitimately. It's like the Bears. They're both just good defenses.
Right.
You want to start them.
Like you don't look at Giants, Cardinals, or Chargers and want to start them over Packers or Bears this week.
Yeah, the only one that's kind of interesting to me is Giants, just because they've gotten sacks lately. They had a good game against the Patriots of all teams, and I don't know. They're not a good defense. We know they can be passed on, etc., but they do get sacks, and I just kind of wonder at home against the rookie quarterback with the big trip.
Yeah. I mean, we said here and said Kyler Murray's a must-start quarterback this week, but we're going to start a defense against him over the defense against Derek Carr.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, but it's a bad defense against the quarterback we call must-start.
Right.
I would never start them over a good Packers defense against Derek Carr.
That's fair. In Green Bay, no less. But Derek Carr isn't like a big mistake guy. He's just a blah guy.
The Packers are going to get 4 sacks, might get a turnover or 2. The Giants might give up 35 points. The Giants might give up 35 points.
I do think in general that game probably trends more high-scoring, stupid game than low-scoring.
Giants, Cardinals?
Yeah. Like last week when we were talking about the Redskins and Dolphins, and all those offensive guys were on the good start list, I was like, I don't know if either of these teams can score, and it ended up being 17-16.
Right.
This one is 2 bad teams, but 2 bad teams I can see putting up 27 apiece and just stupidity game.
Yeah.
If only it was in Arizona at 420.
Oh, then it'd
be silly season.
What about Patrick Peterson coming back? Does that excite you?
I would rather start the Giants D
I
than
agree.
the Cardinals D.
Me too.
But the Giants
on the road.
are a little more always give up fantasy points to defenses. Like whether it's they give up sacks or Jones they've turned it over at least twice in every game but one this year. They're not a great, or I should say they're kind of a sloppy offense, but getting Saquon back maybe changes everything.
It is hard to look at an offense with Saquon against like a sort
Right.
of whatever
Right.
defense
Agreed.
and play them.
All right. There you go. Covered it all. Not one stone left unturned.
Well, the
in
stone we didn't
fantasy.
unturn, it's not that relevant to fantasy.
Sure it is.
Miami Dolphins starting quarterback this week is Ryan Fitzpatrick
That's right.
at the Buffalo Bills revenge game.
That's a big revenge. That's bigger than
I
a
was gonna
Demaryius
say,
Thomas
did we
revenge
talked
game.
about any revenge games this week?
Yeah, that's a bigger one for sure. That's a major revenge game.
If there's one guy in the league that would have revenge on his mind, it'd be Ryan
You don't think he's too
Fitzpatrick.
smart for that?
Nah, he feels the fire.
Well,
with
he
that.
might just have like a smart plan to get revenge.
That's true. Yeah, he's been plotting it for years.
Right. He went to Flores' office this morning and was like, dude, this is what we're going to do.
Here's
It'll
the
be
game
perfect.
plan. I know these guys.
And he sold them.
Yep. I could see it. I can't see it. But yeah, Mark Walton breakout. Let me throw this one at you real quick. So we've talked about this before. You go to like fantasy, this is Yahoo anyway, and the homepage, you go to the league homepage. There's a little section. It's your top scorer of the week.
Okay.
And it says shop for Matt Ryan gear. So for me, it was Matt Ryan. It was my top scorer. Shop for Matt Ryan gear, your top scorer. But it's actually phrased really weird. It makes it sound like you're supposed to buy gear for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine now.
Yeah.
Your fantasy shop player of the week. Buy gear for your top ranked player over
Right.
the past 7 days.
And it was who?
For me, it's Kerryon Johnson.
There you go. So I'm
It shows
really?
how bad of a week that I had.
Kerryon Johnson? Yeah, because your quarterback was Jared Goff.
It had him ranked 63rd. So what,
Your
he was-
top player, though, was the Patriots defense. So
Yeah,
I guess
probably.
you can't for the whole team.
Had to buy
But here's the
Patriots
deal.
gear. A lot, yeah.
So it's phrased
so
weird.
I need to buy Kerryon Johnson gear for him and his family.
Right. So when you click on it, it goes to a page full of Matt Ryan related, but then it gets into there's Ryan Newman on them. They just are taking anyone named Ryan.
Wow,
but
that's
it's
weird.
jerseys, socks, all sorts of stuff, and these bobbleheads that look less like Matt Ryan than anything you could imagine. He would be the 600th guy I would guess that bobblehead was of.
Do a lot of people buy gear of their fantasy players?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
Like,
besides your brother,
I
probably.
gotta, well, right. I gotta commemorate my big fantasy week and
Right.
buy Matt Ryan.
The week before,
poster.
it would have been Will Fuller. You might have wanted
I
to
might have
commemorate
wanted to,
that
man.
week.
What a weird Eric. You're a product guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, all right. But anyway, would this ever work?
No.
Who
But
has clicked on that and bought something?
But
I feel like more people than you
think. This screams.
only if their
Let
player
me tell you what
is,
this
is
screams
on their
of.
favorite team.
This screams like marketing guy, business development guy, and like whoever these people are at like in their companies that are like, what's a cool way to integrate our product into your
Fantasy
page?
with-
And it's like the idea is like in theory, like you could bring that up in a meeting and people be like, that's a good idea.
yeah, fantasy people really like their players.
But like if you asked a fantasy person or just kind of a person who's been around the block a few times, more like
around the block.
not one of those people that came up with the idea. They'd be like, no one's gonna buy anything.
you think I'm going to
because
buy a
of that."
Matt Ryan jersey because
Yeah.
he scored 36.2 points
Right.
last
But
week?
in a meeting, like trying to show people that you've got good integration
Right.
ideas, like people would eat it up.
It sells. It sells
And then
itself.
and then the text on it, buy gear for your top ranked
Right.
player.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it even better.
They'd be better off just having like gear for all of your players because your top ranked player could be a rando.
Well, and it should be because most of like with Yahoo, I think it's when I sign into my account, it knows my favorite teams. Like they should just put Lion stuff for me.
Right.
Like that's gonna have a way better chance of getting a click through and a sell.
It should-
Although I wouldn't do that either.
These change the text. Like buy your favorite, buy your top fantasy players gear.
Right.
Buy gear for you. Carry on.
cracks me up
Let me get you a
every
hat.
week.
Carry on. You really killed
And
it for me last
inevitably,
week.
most weeks it's gonna be your quarterback, right?
Right.
So it's just every
So,
week.
so some quarterbacks are just getting a lot of gear sent to them, I
I
guess.
guess so.
And all this.
Like,
It's
I
like
wonder if
Mahomes.
man, I wonder if you click through far enough, if it actually just sends it to the player.
Yeah, maybe it
Like
does.
the shipping, there is no shipping
directly
screen.
to Matt
There
Ryan.
is no shipping
Right.
screen to put your information in
How
because
about
it's
do
going to the player.
Do some good where it's like most of these guys have foundations of some sort. It's all tax write off.
That would be cool
How
though
about
if
ship
it
some
had
gear to, like-
foundations integrated where
Right,
like
that's what I'm
they had a
saying.
good
Do
week
some
and you
good.
could like be like, here, I'll give $10. to
Like
your
when all those
foundation.
Bills fans did it for
Right.
Andy Dalton.
I won a fantasy baseball league because of Carlos Martinez one year, and we
Bam.
donated like a quarter of the winnings to his
Perfect.
thing.
See, we can do good.
Or like buy gear for underprivileged countries. Like send
Yeah.
some Carry On Johnson gear
just
to
anyone.
Haiti or something.
Right, exactly.
Little.
There's all sorts of good ideas here that we have, and instead they want me to buy a Matt Ryan autographed mini
Some
helmet.
ad sales
To
Boston
send to Matt-
College.
to send to Matt Ryan.
Send to Matt Ryan.
Some ad sales guy got a nice commission off this little integration idea and
Yeah.
got it on the homepage.
Unbelievable. What a world we live in. All right, that's enough for this week. Sportnews.com/fantasy. We have everything else. We don't try to sell you anything except the Zone subscriptions, I guess.
I mean,
but-
go to the site, click on things.
yeah,
Give us some page views.
yeah, and buy it for us.
Find us on the dark web
We
or the
give you
deep
good
web. on
ideas.
Yippee.
Yippee!
Yeah, on Yippee, yeah. You go to Yippee, man. We are optimized. So anyway, for Eric Ferreira and Billy Hayen, I am Matt Latewski. Thanks for listening, and until next time.